Hey, all my movie maniacs out there. So, what challenge, if given to you, if you completed it, had lots of money, what challenge would be your breaking point to, no matter what amount of money is offered to you, you would not do it or complete it because it was just against your morals? Well, that is kind of the dilemma that is brought to us in the film Cheap Thrills, brought to us by E.L.Katz. Now, we get the story of Craig Daniels, played by Pat Healy, and Craig is down and out. He's financially strapped, he's got a wife and a new baby, and he just lost his job, and he's wallowing in his woes at a bar just before he's about to go home and tell the wife, hey, we're going to get evicted, and all these mean things are going to happen to him. He crossed paths with an old friend of his, Vince. Well, Vince and him start catching up, and Vince's job is not quite so straight on the straight and narrow path. He's a debt collector, if you know what I mean about debt collecting, and plus he's got a bit of a record. So, while you've got Craig Daniels who's more straight-laced, his buddy Vince not so much. Well, while they're reminiscing and catching up, they come across a couple, Colin and Violet. And Colin and Violet are loaded with money, and they invite him over, have a few drinks, and soon they start telling him about how it's Violet's birthday, and they want to present some challenges to him, and with each challenge they would get money. And we see how the events play out throughout the night as each challenge gets more and more bold, and we see how that affects not only the relationship between Craig Daniels and Vince, but also affects their morals and just what morals they're ready to let go and forget about in order to get more money. Cheap Thrills really is a dark, kind of a comedy, but it's also got some really dark moments into it as well that I didn't expect. Based off of the trailer that you had, you almost thought it was going to be a little bit more lighthearted, but it isn't. It gets really interesting as the movie plays out. Now, what I love is Pat Healy's performance as Craig Daniels. So Pat Healy really brings this character who's a bit conflicted at first, but pretty soon he's a guy who just is looking to the money, and you can see how his character grows and changes, whether for the better or worse, as the film goes on, and Pat Healy does great with that. He even had a little bit of hints of Michael Douglas's falling down character in here, but not so much the rage, letting loose the rage on everybody, but letting loose his morals. So, great performance here by Pat Healy. Everyone else in here does fairly well. You got Sarah Paxton in here as Violet, the wife, who she doesn't have a whole lot of lines, but when she does, they mean a lot, and they really trigger a number of events in the plot. Plus, she expresses herself a lot through her body movement and her facial expression. So I really liked her performance. It was a little more subtle than the other characters. And then you got Colin, who is her husband, played by David Koechner, who was in Anchorman, and really, he can play the upbeat kind of guy. He's this twisted kind of guy. He's happy-go-lucky. Hey, he's the kind of guy you want to be your friend. I mean, he really seems like a nice guy, but he does have a bit of a dark, twisted side to him, which again comes out throughout this film. And I loved how things come out about these characters throughout. We're not giving everything to you right away. Plus, there are a number of surprises, especially the difference in how Craig Daniels and Vince handle the situation as the challenges get more and more hairy. And let me tell you, while the ending was just a bit predictable, it did have a great final moment. That final scene panel that they had really had an emotional impact because they let it just stay on there for a moment and let you have things sink in. Now look for an appearance of Amanda Fuller as well as Audrey. She's from the Brittany Murphy story. She's playing Craig Daniels' wife. There's a gore in here as well. There's special effects in here, and there's just some really outrageous things. But it will make you question just what people will do for money and just what things they're willing to let go as far as their moral standards go in order to get that extra cash. So Cheap Thrills for me was a thrill. 3.5 stubs. I had a lot of fun with this movie. I liked the direction that they took the characters. Performance by Pat Healy's top notch, and the direction and pacing of this film was really well done. Never really a slow moment, and really made you feel for the characters in the film. So check out Cheap Thrills if you can. I think it's free on Amazon Prime, instant view otherwise, video on demand and rental as well. And that'll about do it for us here at The Final Cut. Till next time, folks, remember, keep that ticket stub.